In the vast, dark expanse of the Gulf of Aden, two small skiffs sliced through the waves, their engines screaming defiance against the silence of the night. Packed with armed Somali pirates, they raced at full throttle towards a colossal silhouette looming on the horizon. To them, it looked like easy prey, a cargo ship. Big, slow, escorted a ripe target under the cloak of darkness. No flag, no lights. Just a massive shape of steel against the night sky in the brutal calculus of piracy. This spelled opportunity. They were catastrophically wrong. In less than 90 seconds, the silhouette would shed its disguise. This was no lumbering freighter. It was a floating fortress of war. Not merely a U.S. Navy ship, but the USS Dwight. Eisenhower, a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, the heart of a carrier strike group. A vessel that launches warplanes before breakfast and bristles with more firepower than many nations possess. The pirates brought AK-47s and RPGs. The carrier brought 5,000 sailors, CIWS cannons spitting thousands of rounds per minute, radar-guided missile systems, and a zero-tolerance policy for threats. What unfolded next wasn't a fight. It wasn't even a standoff. It was a lesson, delivered swiftly and decisively. The first sign of trouble appeared as two fast-moving blips on radar. Low signature, no identifying signals, closing fast. Inside the carrier's Combat Information Center SIC, the system lit up. Contacts to small craft, bearing 085, closing. The call came without hesitation. In these waters, it meant one thing: trouble. On the bridge, the officer of the deck relayed the order: Bridge CIC, notify flight deck. Launch Seahawk, now. Below, the carrier was already a hive of controlled activity. This wasn't some sleepy convoy. It was a fully alert strike group on patrol. Within 2 minutes, an MH-60R Seahawk helicopter, rotors beating the air, roared off the flight deck, armed with a door gunner and advanced sensors. It vectored straight towards the incoming skiffs. On deck, choreographed chaos. Yellow shirts cleared space, red shirts checked ordnance, green shirts signaled readiness. The ship was calm, focused, and incredibly fast. A new update from CIC. Skiffs are splitting, one pulling away, one heading straight for us. A textbook pirate tactic: divide and confuse. The captain's command was simple: maintain course. Let them commit. High above, the Seahawk pilot had eyes on target. Hostile posture confirmed. Repeat. Visible armament. That was all the Navy needed. While caution is protocol, these skiffs had crossed the line. A second Seahawk lifted off. Nearby, aboard the destroyer USS Gravely, visit, board, search, and seizure VBSS teams suited up, ready to deploy in their rigid hull inflatable boats' ribs. On the carrier's deck, the lethal CIWS turrets quietly tracked the approaching threat. Hesitation is a liability the Navy cannot afford. From the pirates' perspective, it was still just a big ship. From the Navy's, it was a rapidly developing threat, and the response was already in motion. The skiff charging straight in showed no sign of stopping. Blind confidence, or perhaps blind stupidity. At 800 yards, the Seahawk dropped altitude. Its side gunner swung the M240 machine gun into position, a potent, silent warning. Still, the pirates pressed on. One man stood, hoisting a long, metallic tube onto his shoulder, an RPG. Hostile confirmed, weapons in hand. Continuing intercept, the Seahawk radioed. The captain on the Eisenhower didn't flinch. From the destroyer Gravely, two 11-meter ribs slammed into the water, carrying heavily armed VBSS teams, floating SWAT units ready to act fast and hit hard. Overhead, the Seahawk's gunner delivered the final, non-negotiable warning: a burst of machine gun fire stitched across the water, just ahead of the skiff's bow. The message was unmistakable: turn around now, or face the consequences. This time, the pirates reacted, but it was far too late. The ribs were already upon them, engines roaring, cutting through the waves like scalpels. One VBSS team boxed the skiff in from starboard, the other blocked its rear. A voice boomed over a loudspeaker: lay down your weapons. Hands up, do it now. Panic erupted on the skiff. One pirate hurled his AK into the sea. Another froze, eyes wide with terror. In less than 30 seconds, it was over. Weapons confiscated, pirates zip-tied and face down on the deck of the RHIB. The skiff was secured. Throughout the entire encounter, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower never altered course, never slowed down. It didn't need to. Aircraft carriers don't handle such threats personally. They bring an entourage that bites back harder. And the second skiff, the one that veered off, it didn't escape. A drone tracked it idling near a suspicious fishing vessel miles away. Minutes later, a different RHIB team from the USS Mason, another destroyer in the strike group, swarmed it. More pirates detained, more questions raised. It was only later, disarmed and subdued, that the captured pirates grasped the enormity of their mistake. As a U.S. Marine leaned in, the truth finally dawned. You know you pulled up on an aircraft carrier, right? Silence. Then, a muttered curse under the breath, the universal language for we made a very, very big mistake. Attacking a U.S. aircraft carrier isn't bold, it's suicidal. It's like bringing a butter knife to a tank fight, except the tank floats, launches fighter jets, carries nearly 5,000 personnel, and is protected by an entire fleet. The pirates saw a lonely ship. They stumbled into the most heavily defended vessel on any ocean. A carrier never travels alone. It leads a strike group, destroyers, cruisers, submarines, supply ships, helicopters, drones, and fighter jets, a floating city built for war. The Eisenhower itself is over 1,000 feet long, nuclear-powered, capable of launching heavily armed F/A-18 Super Hornets every 25 seconds. Its defenses include the CIWS Seawas, firing for 1,500 rounds per minute, and evolved Sea Sparrow missiles ESSM to swat threats out of the sky. Add helicopters, electronic warfare jets, and radar planes that see for hundreds of miles. You don't sneak up on a carrier, you get flagged, tracked, locked, and if necessary, eliminated before you even get close. The Navy hadn't even used a tenth of its available power to neutralize this threat. But neutralizing the threat was just step one. For the Navy, every encounter is an intelligence opportunity. While the pirates contemplated their futures below deck, intel teams dissected the incident. The RPG launcher, the busted satellite phone, the skiff itself all became data points. Thermal footage, radio intercepts, even fuel samples were analyzed. A faint radio frequency matched chatter linked to illegal arms shipments. Suddenly, this wasn't just random piracy, it hinted at a larger network. Within hours, data flew up the chain. CENTCOM, AFRICOM, coalition partners. The Navy doesn't just swat flies, it maps the swarm. The pirates were just the first ripple. The real work, tracking the network, was just beginning. Target packages were being assembled. By sunrise, the ocean was calm. The Eisenhower sailed on, flight operations uninterrupted. But a message had been delivered, silently and powerfully, across the waves. It wasn't just for those pirates, it was for anyone watching, anyone planning. It said, "We see you. We will stop you, and we learn from every encounter." The Gulf of Aden grew quiet. When the U.S. Navy responds, it doesn't just issue a warning, it makes an example. The steel behemoth continued its patrol, a silent guardian on a volatile sea, a stark reminder of the overwhelming power protecting the vital arteries of global trade. The pirates learned a harsh lesson that day. Some ships are best left undisturbed.